Good evening and welcome to Council. Today, 23rd June, a record breaker, I understand. And tomorrow and the next day is due to be even hotter, apparently. So in light of the heat, if you haven't already disrobed, at least... at least de-jacketed, then you're very welcome to do so, obviously bearing in mind that we are all in council. So the other thing I've been mentioned to note is that the fire alarm is a bit on the sort of blink, that's the one. Thank you. And if it goes off, it's probably just objecting to the heat as opposed to actually anything awful. Do come in, Fran and Malcolm. All right, so Vic, you're going to item 1, apologies for absence. Vic, I think you're going
Yes, thank you, Chairman. We have apologies from Councillors Bennett, Mead and Palmer.
Thank you very much. Excellent. Right, item 2, declarations of disposable pecuniary interests and other disclosable interests. I'd like to ask if any members have any declarations of interest. Councillor Rouse.
I've forgotten which item it is, but it's the housing assistance policy. And so because I work for the Citizens Advice and I deal with that all the time, I don't think it's, and I'm not allowed to say what I actually think.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Rouse. I'm just going to note that I do some work for Air Quality News. I've been advised it isn't a conflict or of any interest, but I will ask to note it. Thank you. Right, any others? No? Okay, item 3, confirmation of minutes of the previous meeting. Could I ask for a proposer, please? Thank you very much, Councillor Rain. And a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Gowrie. Oh, 2 sets of minutes. So the first one is the minutes of council on the 24th of March. So I'll take those as proposer and seconder. And secondly, the minutes of the 12th of May. So I need a proposer and seconder. Thanks. Thank you very much, Mark. Councillor Driscoll. And thanks, Councillor Dean Clark. Thank you. That's very good of you. Right. Okay, that's item 3. Okay, item 4, Chairman's announcements. So I don't want to go on too long today because of the heat, but I thought you might be interested to know some of the things I've been up to since we last met on the 12th of May. It's been a very busy time as your new chairman and taking over from Councillor Walton, whose big shoes I'm seeking to fill. I'd very much like to welcome our 2 new councillors. I know Councillor Dwayne Hubbard was here last time, but welcome again. And Councillor Chris McSweeney for Alfric, Lye and Rushwick. You're very welcome. And I notice you have your unicycle with you. Looking forward to seeing that. I pledged at our last meeting to raise funding for St Richard's Hospice, our local hospice, providing free palliative care to residents from South Worcestershire. Since then, I've been privileged to visit the hospice in Worcester, just next to County Hall, where Abby Holiday kindly showed me around. This beautiful building offers individual apartment-style accommodation to those in need, with a wonderful communal dining area, meditation and activity spaces, and stunning, wonderfully maintained grounds. I said I'd like to do a triathlon, and since then I've signed up to do the Upton Triathlon on the 11th of July. Joined a tri club, started training. And I'd like to thank Malvern Tri Club for their fantastic input, friendship and coaching support. Not having swum for 2 years, it's been a bit of a process over the past month to get back into it, and never having cycled competitively, it's been also a little bit of trial and error. Thanks to the prompting of one of our fellow councillors, I've also signed up to do the Worcestershire Way walk for St Richard's Hospice on the 3rd of July. It's not quite on the epic scale of Daniel's 66-mile walk, but it is 31 miles from Bewdley to Malvern Hills, I understand. I haven't studied the route yet, but I do have a Just Giving page online, which is available for you. It's under Beverley's fundraiser for St Richard's if you feel so inclined to give a few pounds. Perhaps 1 for every mile. Anyway, Right, and on Sunday the 3rd of August, I'll be hosting my civic service at Great Malvern Priory at 3 p.m. with refreshments following the service, and obviously you are all very welcome to join us. And we'll be focusing on the work and the tremendous contribution of carers in our society and how indebted we are to them for their often overlooked efforts. I'm also working with the hospice and the store Deja Vu here in Malvern and their wonderful manager Catherine Duggins to put on a fashion show for the hospice during second-hand September. This will be on the evening of the 4th of September at Malvern Town Football Club. There'll be a fashion show, a light buffet supper and bar, and I do hope that you might be able to join us. We'll be promoting it shortly. It's being held on this date so as not to clash with the Cube's well-established fashion show, which is on the 5th of October. I wouldn't dare cut across the inimitable work of Sue Dakin, who's obviously an inspiration to us all. And of course, I'm conscious that Councillor McVeigh has regularly starred as a model on the catwalk. So there's a lot to live up to match their efforts, I think. I've just been getting into the swing of the chairman's events and calendar, but would like very much to thank Nikki Stevens, who's an incredible asset to our council, and of course, Democratic Services and Bron and Ali. So thank you very much for everything. Some of the events I've attended on your behalf, which have been a great privilege to join, and which I believe open a window onto the tremendous reach of this council in its day-to-day impact and operations, include afternoon tea at the heart of Worcestershire College, the Royal Naval Sea Cadets Malvern Awards Evening, the Malvern Walking Festival, leading my 5th year of a walk, covering industrial Malvern, the New Model Institute for Technology and Engineering, setting up and reviewing a student design project, judging for the Malvern Theatre's Hoarding Art Competition, Save the Children Coffee Morning, Knights Law Firm first ever reception at Stanbrook Abbey, Three Counties President Lunch, a great highlight in the calendar, the Civic Service in Kidderminster for the inauguration of their new mayor, a very interesting visit with our leader to the Malvern Hills District Council new depot for our food waste collection and meeting with all of our team at the depot. Newtown Football Club Awards presentation, Poolbrook Village Hall relaunch, where it was also attended by a number of fellow councillors. Very good to see you there. The Connected Communities event at Lye and Bransford Village Hall, which was absolutely inspirational, well organised by our fabulous community team. Sunday service at St James in West Malvern, and lovely to see Councillor Rain there. And a rather special one, wine tasting at Two Beacons Vineyard. They've planted all their vines since 2019, so it was very interesting to see a new business startup in just over the hill. And so please, just a reminder that if you'd like to join, if you'd like me to join a Sunday service in your ward, then please let me know and I will be delighted to join you. Thank you very much. That concludes item 4. Item 5 is public participation, and there is none today. Item 6, leaders' question time. So I think we have a question from Councillor Jones-Williams. Yeah, thank you, Barbara. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed, Chairman. Could the leader please provide an update on what pressure and speaking up for its residents Malvern Hills District Council is applying to Worcestershire County Council regarding the ongoing closure of the B4204 road at Rochford due to the major landslide earlier this year? This critical route is now being closed for months, severely impacting local residents who are cut off from accessing their local market town directly. The forced diversion forces motorists onto narrow rural lanes for many miles. This is not only significantly increasing travel times and vehicle emissions, but it's also presenting a distinct road safety hazard given how narrow and unsuited these lanes are for increased traffic volumes, especially this time of year, with the huge farm tractors and implements also being forced to use this diversion. Furthermore, this prolonged closure is having detrimental impact on our local public and rural economy. affecting the Fox Inn, Tenbury Broadheath, with a drop of 25% in take-ins is a massive blow for a country pub. Given the severe disruption to our communities, what steps is this administration taken to ensure the Highways Authority treats this repair with the utmost urgency? And how are we supported affected residents in the interim?
Reader, would you like to respond?
Thank you. Thank you for your question. I think all of us share the concerns expressed by Councillor Jones-Williams about the impact of the ongoing closure of the B4204 following the landslide earlier this year at Rochford. The forced diversion resulting from this means there is significant inconvenience to local residents. It increases the road safety hazard and makes farm vehicle movements awkward. The local economy is undermined by these restrictions. Whenever we have road closures for extended periods, we are duty-bound to minimise the impact on residents and businesses. Members will be aware of a similar problem with the closure last year of the A449 at British Camp, which was due to reopen in April but remains closed with no clear commitment as to when it will be open. The inconvenience to residents and businesses in Malvern Wells is very significant. The response from Worcestershire County Council Highways to previous approaches on this has been very disappointing. I will be formally writing to the County Council asking for a clear commitment to repair the B4204 as quickly as possible, and I will be raising the issue of the A449 closure and the unacceptable delay to reinstating this important trunk road. There have been a number of different cabinet members responsible for highways and transport, and I will be raising these concerns directly with Councillor Tom Wells, Worcestershire County Council's most recent cabinet member for highways and transport, to ensure that the concerns of our residents and businesses are fully understood.
Okay. I have noticed. Thank you, Pam. Yes, I'm assuming you would wish to say something, Councillor Wells.
Chairman, I had made a promise to my wife that I wasn't going to speak this evening, but unfortunately I've been drawn into the debate quite quickly. I believe I'm the fourth cabinet member for highways and transport this year. The gestation period for a county councillor with this brief clearly is very limited. I'm going to be quite candid with you all. I've been in post a few weeks, and it's clear to me that the communication lines have not been open as much as they should have. No one should underestimate the challenge that is faced in dealing with these situations. But the one thing that has been really lacking, in my opinion, has been the lack of relevant information so that everyone understands the parameters, the timescales, and the complexity and the challenge of the work that's involved. So I will undertake to make sure this council receives a proper update on both the road going into Tenbury and also the A449 in Malvern. And so long as I'm in the most challenging position I've ever been in my 31 years in politics, this is clearly the most challenging. It makes running a council look pretty easy, I have to tell you. I will ensure that you get a proper full briefing, Chair, and that will be circulated to all members, I hope.
Thank you very much, Councillor Wells. Yes, and Barbara, sorry, you have I don't worry, I haven't forgotten.
Yeah, thank you so
Barbara,
much.
Supplementary.
First of all, can I thank Councillor Tom Wells for his comments on that, and I very much appreciate it. And in actual fact, the reason why I brought this up is because I'm rural champion, and also I only live about 2 miles from this landslide. So Tom, you and your wife, please, are more than welcome to come to my house, and I'll pop you down there and we'll go and have a look. And I would really, appreciate that. Can I also just mention that this is on Councillor Hubbard's ward, and I have already spoken to him, and he was quite happy for me to bring this question forward. So when you come out, Tom, you know, maybe Councillor Hubbard can sort of join us as well. What I was going to say, though, is that it does need to be dealt with because harvesting is starting shortly, but I don't suppose that it will even get fixed in time for that. But it does increase the traffic through the lanes. And also, in terms of the pub, there's no sign on Hyos Crossroads where all the diversions are set, although that's in Herefordshire. But there ought really to be a sign there, Councillor Wells, just saying that the Fox Inn is open. So maybe you can have a look at that as well. And also, thank you, Leader, for your reply. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Jones-Williams. Thank you to Councillor Wells too for your intervention and for the promise of a proper update on the A4 204 and the 449, which I know many in this room will be really interested to attend. John, do you want to say anything further?
And just the same as what you've said, to thank Councillor Wells for his response. So we're actually looking forward to much better communication, which he rightly points out has actually been lacking right across the board in this for some time. So look forward to that.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Leader. Okay, I think I'll move on then to our second question, which is from Councillor Rouse.
Just on communication there, I think maybe everyone's forgotten that Leslie is also the other councillor for that area. So perhaps she would like to come to the meeting or be involved in anything that's going on there as well. Not just, is it Dwayne? I've forgotten, yeah. And I'm sure Councillor McSweeney and I would love to add the A4103 closure to your bag of stuff, although I'm actually okay with it because I'm thinking, well, there'll be no lorries for 5 weeks. Is that a bad thing? No. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. But my house will be quite quiet. So anyway, on to my question. So in 2019, one of the important projects was the development of the new science park on the Kinetic site. It was said at the time to be critical to help create more jobs, give new businesses space to grow and create a master plan for our science parks. It's 7 years later now and much in the world has changed, and we've invested 20 million in the theatre, millions in local community and sports facilities, but it doesn't seem there's much going on with this project. So I just wondered if the leader can update us on when we might see a spade in the ground, the hub building being constructed, and it all might begin, or if this is now something that won't happen in the lifetime of this council.
Thank you, Leader.
Okay, thanks. Thank you for that question. As members may be aware, in 2018, Worcestershire County Council acquired a parcel of land from Kinetic to facilitate the development of what has become known as the Malvern Hills Technology Park. Subsequently, the County Council secured outline planning consent in June 2019 for the erection of 6 employment buildings, together with the associated landscaping, parking, drainage, outbuildings and enabling works. All in all, approximately 300,000 square feet of employment space. The reserved matters for this application were approved in June 2024. On the 22nd of January 2019, Malvern Hills District Council entered into an investment agreement with the County Council to provide £500,000 towards a joint infrastructure fund of £2.5 million. Funds were subsequently drawn down to construct the first phase of the access road from Longridge Road. The most significant impediment to the completion of this access road remains the requirement for Kinetic to relocate their existing fence line, which would allow a connection to the existing road to the south of Malvern Hills Science Park. Kinetic and the County Council are in discussion on this point. In the absence of the full access road and financial viability gaps for the plots, the County Council has been reluctant to actively promote the scheme to developers, although a master plan for the site has been developed. We are aware that some early conversations with possible occupiers have taken place, but to date, no firm proposals exist. Colleagues in our economic development team had identified a growth opportunity for an existing Malvern Hills business that was being pursued, but again to date, no clear route to occupation exists. So in direct response to the question asked, I consider it highly unlikely that any meaningful development will take place on this site before March 2028.
Thank you, Leader. Councillor Rouse, do you have a supplementary?
I do actually, and it sort of links quite closely to that. So it's about the Blackmore Park site, which is now twice, I think, been refused from the SWDPR or the SWDP initially. And actually, that's another one that's got an access issue. So I was wondering whether, now we know that it's probably not going to be developed for economic land, whether the leader would agree that it should be perhaps thought, and this is something I've raised a few times, that it could be an area of public open space, somewhere for tree planting, somewhere for nature, somewhere for people to be, because it's very close to the common. It's very close to a lot of new development and a lot of new housing. And we all know the benefit of outdoor space for people. And actually, would this site be another area where you can look at biodiversity net gain, where companies can actually invest in a local place, not somewhere halfway around the world? So it... Oops. Somewhere near Avenue Road. Oh, yeah, that's where we're all going off the A4103. So it's just that conversation, as this council is on its way out, that is an asset that quite possibly could just be sold. It's currently being grazed into the ground with sheep. It's not being used for biodiversity. And I just think it would be a shame not to explore an opportunity to turn that into something really special. And something that never quite made it into the SWDPR was the area of, not a national park, but that kind of area. So it's just a question about that.
I think this is something we will look at. I haven't got a direct answer to what we'll do with it, but we'll certainly take that question and evaluate it to see whether anything like that can actually be achieved with it.
Thank you very much, Leader. Thank you, Councillor Rouse. Okay, moving on to the next item on our agenda, item 7, Housing Assistance Policy. I'd like to invite Councillor Jenny Watkins to move the recommendation of the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, first of two housing-related reports this evening seeking approval following support from Executive Committee last week, the first being the Housing Assistance Policy 2026. This updated policy is required to ensure we meet our statutory responsibilities and reflects the introduction of the new Worcestershire Home Adaptation Service launched quite recently. The policy, as you'll see, has been developed alongside our Worcestershire partners, and by aligning our approach with the Worcestershire authorities, we will provide a more consistent, efficient and streamlined service for residents across the county. Through disabled facility grants, DFGs, and other form of housing assistance, this policy will support some of the most vulnerable members of our communities and enable practical interventions such as home adaptations, essential repairs and support for people living with dementia. Any assistance that can be helped to prevent unnecessary hospital admissions or enable a safe return following discharge. Importantly, while the policy establishes clear eligibility criteria and funding limits, it also recognises that not every situation fits neatly within a standard framework, and therefore provides the flexibility for those exceptional cases to be considered where assistance beyond normal thresholds represents the most reasonable, practical and cost-effective solution for both the resident and the council. You'll see that there are no additional financial implications arising from the proposal, with funding continuing to be provided through the Better Care Fund and other recycled grant funding. And Chair, in summary and for members, this policy helps to provide a clear and robust framework for delivering housing assistance, enabling the council to meet its statutory obligations while supporting residents to live safely, independently and with dignity in their own homes. Therefore, I move the council propose the report to policy to council for adoption, and I'm looking for a seconder.
Thank you very much, Councillor Watkins. Do we have a oh, thanks very much. Councillor Wilde is seconding. So I would like to invite members to debate any comments or questions for our portfolio holder. And yes, Councillor Leslie.
Thank you, Chair. Can I query just how does the scheme operate for applicants who've been diagnosed with conditions that can change rapidly? For example, MND. A resident contacted me and asked if the council would consider fast-tracking any applications from applicants who have MND. Sadly, her husband passed away from the disease, but as we all know, the disease rapidly affects the brain and spinal cord, so timely interventions is crucial in those circumstances. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bruton.
If I may respond, Chair, and thank you, Councillor Bruton, and I'm sorry to hear about that particular case. I don't know off the top of my head, I'm looking at as whether Jen could clarify as to exactly how it works, but if that's okay, Jen?
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Councillor Bruton. And I know you and a number of other members have been in touch over the past few months regarding that campaign. So my understanding is that there are processes for prioritisation of cases. So a case where somebody has a life expectancy that may be shorter and needing priority, that would account for a priority given through the scheme. However, I'm more than happy to share more details on how that specifically operates with members after this meeting. What I would say is that has been raised with the client board. So the client board is the group of senior officers from across the councils overseeing the new service from April to steer and oversee the performance of the service. So that's been fed in and will be picked up through the next client board meeting as well.
Bruton, thank you. Any other questions or points anybody would like to raise? Councillor McVeigh.
Yeah, thank you. Not a question. I had the opportunity to ask all of the questions I wanted to at exec last week. So it was just, in fact, about this item and the next two items. So it was just to put on record my thanks to officers who've already responded to all of the things I asked about, which was quite a lot, especially Kate, Laura and Rachel. So yes, everything was covered off for me last week. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McVeigh. That being the case, I think we are ready to go to the vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So all of those for, please raise your cards. And that is unanimous, Chair.
Thank you very much indeed. Right, we shall move on to item 8, which is about our housing enforcement policy. And once again, I would like to invite Councillor Jenny Watkins to move the recommendation in the report. Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, staying on theme, again following Executive Committee endorsement last week, I'm pleased to present the Housing Enforcement Policy 2026 for approval from Council. Policy provides the framework through which the Council fulfils its responsibilities as the local housing authority, ensuring housing standards are maintained, tenants are protected, and landlords understand and meet their legal obligations. The need for an updated policy is driven primarily by the introduction of the Renters' Rights Act 2025, which represents the most significant reform of the private rented sector that we've seen in over a generation. And the legislation introduces new rights and protections for tenants, new responsibilities for landlords, and new enforcement duties for local authorities. This policy ensures that Malvern Hills District Council is equipped to implement and enforce these changes effectively. It reflects national guidance, incorporates the new enforcement powers available to our councils, and adopts a consistent approach that has been developed alongside nationally recognised best practice. Importantly, this policy is not just simply about enforcement, it's also about raising standards, promoting fairness, and creating confidence within the private rented sector. By providing clarity around expectations and ensuring that we've got some consistent decision making, the policy supports responsible landlords whilst helping to tackle some of those poor practices where it occurs. Given that the government is continuing to phase in elements of the Renters' Rights Act, the report also seeks delegated authority for minor amendments to be made in future without coming back to council in order to be able to update the guidance. This will ensure the policy remains current and effective without requiring repeated technical updates here. Members are also, as you'll know, asked to approve the associated fees and charges set out within the policy. These also reflect national guidance and support a fair and proportionate approach to cost recovery, ensuring enforcement activity remains sustainable and focused on improving standards within the private rented sector. We are seeking to introduce these fees now because the new Renters' Rights Acts give councils additional enforcement responsibilities, and it's right that where legislation allows, the costs associated with enforcing against non-compliance are recovered from offenders rather than falling on the public purse. So, Chair, in summary, this is a practical and necessary policy which enables the Council to meet its statutory obligations, protect our residents and support improvements in housing standards across Malvern District, and therefore I move the recommendations before council and seek a seconder.
Thank you very much, Councillor Watkins. Do we have a seconder? Oh, yes, Councillor Weil. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. So I'd like to ask if anybody has any questions or issues they'd like to raise on this paper. Can't see. Oh, Douglas.
Yeah. Everything's on enforcement. How does it encourage people to become landlords?
Thank you, Councillor Godwin. Councillor Watkins.
Thank you. I think I'll start on the point that we have some, very responsible and good landlords across the district, and we do rely on good private rented sector to enable people to find homes. I think, this housing enforcement policy for most of those landlords makes absolute sense. But for those that maybe, and we all have had residents living in poor living conditions, and as many of you know, I work in housing in my day job, this is probably a welcome approach by many parties in order to make sure that we've got good standards and that it's not costing the public purse in order for us to enforce them.
Thank you, Councillor Watkins. Anybody else got a contribution or comment? Can't see anything actually, so I think looks like we're ready to go to the vote. Thank you very much. Could all in favour please raise your... Oh, sorry.
That's fine, Chair. Thank you. All those for, raise your cards. And again, that's unanimous, Chair.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. That's very good. I shall move on to item 9, the adoption of the South Worcestershire Air Quality, Affordable Housing and Developer Contributions Supplementary Planning Documents and the Sustainable Building and Construction Guidance. I'd like to invite Councillor David Harrison to move the recommendation in the report. Thank you, David.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Interesting that this takes up 3/4 of the meeting today, but I am not going to take up 3/4 of the time for the meeting today. You will be pleased to know. There is our Senior Planning Officer, Isabel Roberts, at the back, who's come from Whichever, who's available for any serious questions. All questions are serious, but I'm sure she'll be able to answer all of them if I give her the chance. This really starts with the proposals which are situated on page 118 and are, as you've said, to do with the South Worcestershire Air Quality, Affordable Housing Development Contributions, Developer Contributions and Sustainable Building and Construction Guidance. The Council is asked to adopt the 3 SPDs, subject to any minor factual, typographical, grammatical and presentational amendments being delegated to the Director of Planning, which will probably finish up with Isabel, and Infrastructure in consultation with myself. 2.3, the Council's asked to note that following adoption, the documents will be published alongside the required adoption statements in consultation material and will take immediate effect as material considerations in planning decision making. So anything that is decided by the officers today will be under this new rules. Very good. Before adopting an SPD, the Council must publish the draft for at least 4 weeks. This has happened. It happened between the 30th of March and the 30th of April and came before one of our committees before. Responses were received, and there's a lot of them actually, and these are shown in detail after each of the various policies that are going to come forward, and were also included in great detail on the executive papers of the 16th of June. So you will find these on these after the sort of SPD stuff that's here. The ones obviously we've got to do are to do with the air quality, affordable housing, developer contributions and sustainable and building construction guidance. I looked through this, which is 320 pages, and I only found one little mistake, and I'm not going to embarrass anybody by saying what it was. But the report is very detailed and lots of it. So thank you, Isabel, for you and your staff. The proposals are therefore written here somewhere, wherever it is. What paragraph is it? Come on, somebody help me out.
22212223, Councillor Harrison's.
Recommendations that we
118,
approve.
page 118.
Under recommendations, item 2, 3 recommendations there, and I would like to propose those en bloc.
Thank you, Councillor Harrison. Do I have a seconder? Thank you very much, Councillor Clark. That's tremendous. Right, so moving on, we have a question or a comment from Councillor McSweeney.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I just wanted to comment on the air quality. I mean, I've mentioned I'm Chair of Environment Scrutiny at the County Council at the moment. Last Thursday was Clean Air Day, which it's a campaign regarding air quality. I just wanted to say I very much welcome the air quality document. I mean, it is something that's very important. I'll register my very slight disappointment. There's a single paragraph in the document on sustainable travel, which I would consider as a huge factor towards actually improving air quality, given that the majority source of nitrous oxides and some particulate matter is road transport. So it's something we very much need to work towards. But I very much welcome the document as a whole, that we do have something in place, and I understand it in the context of what we can do within the national planning context. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McSweeney. Very good to hear you speak on your first meeting. So that's a very welcome contribution. Any other, Councillor Owenson?
Yeah, it's just following on from that. I mean, these are supplementary planning documents. They effectively are enhancing the SWDP. One of the things I'm quite proud of on this council is that we got the SWDP review through in March, and you know, the SWDP pulls together all of that planning policy. The development of the Wychavon town, as an example, is all predicated around accessibility to the railway station, and then the prioritisation of public transport through that town development, etc. Going forward, bless you. I think the fact that this is supplementary documents or guidance, and again it came up on exec last week, but the guidance on why is sustainable building construction simply guidance as opposed to planning documents? Again, that's because the SWDP itself is quite stringent on the construction of homes, and I think this council has actually provided more sustainable housing every time we've reviewed or updated the SWDP. We're always pushing for more. Sometimes I think we need to sit back and just congratulate ourselves on what we've done in this area of sustainable building, and I'm just happy to endorse this and recommend to the council to approve it as well.
Very much, thank you, Councillor Owenson. Any other comments, questions? Can't see anything. I think it looks like we're ready to go to the vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. So we're voting on recommendations 2.1, 2.2 and 2.3 are set out in the report. All those for, please raise your card. And that's unanimous again, Chair.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. I'd like to now move on to item 10, which is an update following the by-elections, and invite Councillor John Gallagher to move the recommendation in the report. Thank you.
We've had a number of by-elections recently, and the consequence of one of those has been that there's a shift in the political balance. So there's the appointments appendix has therefore had to be updated to reflect this variation of this change in the allocation of seats based on the political balance, and that can be seen actually in Annex or the Appendix 1. Along with that, there are a number of panel vacancies that remain unfilled, and the terms of reference of these panels is that we aim for a political balance, but it's not actually required or not mandatory. and it is therefore proposed that vacant panel places be opened up to any councillors who wish to serve on the panels in order to support effective guidance and attendance and operation. And finally, on this, to avoid any delays occurring in the future for any remaining future vacancies, the council is asked to authorise the monitoring officer to confirm appointments in consultation with group leaders where vacancies remain or where they arise subsequently from till the end of the municipal year. So on the recommendations in 2.1, I propose those en block, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3.
Thank you very much, John. Do we have a seconder? Thanks very much, Councillor Owenson. Any questions? We've got Alison here to help us, and obviously John. No questions. No questions. Right. Gosh. Right. Okay. We can go straight to the vote then. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So all those for the recommendations are set out in the report. Please raise your card. That's unanimous again, Chair.
Well today, very good. Okay, item 11, this is overview and scrutiny annual report, and just on this item we have received a request from the chairman of overview and scrutiny committee to defer this item until the next meeting when he will be available to attend and present it. And so, exercising my discretion as chairperson, I agree to defer the item to the next meeting on the 22nd of September, so we will not be discussing that this evening. Item 12 is the forward plan for noting only. Hopefully you've had a chance to do that. And item 13, we have had no notice of motion submitted this evening. So that brings our meeting to a close with minimal hot air, I feel, and a good deal of useful discussion. So thank you all very much indeed, and I hope you all survive. Yeah, sorry, have I missed something, Councillor Jones-Williams? No, right, thank you. Okay, well, have a good evening. Keep well hydrated.